What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Bake It with AJ. I'm AJ, and today I'm making pecan pie brownies, not to be confused with turtle brownies. I mean, they're kind of the same thing when you think about it, but I was really excited I put it together, so that's what we're making today. The link for the recipe can be found in the description, so check that out along with all my other social media. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can join me every Wednesday for new episodes of Bake It with AJ. These are some of the best brownies I've ever had, so let's get started. This is a very simple brownie batter. So in a bowl, I have a cup of granulated sugar with a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Just whisk all those ingredients together till nicely combined, and then we're going to add in 2 large room temperature eggs, make sure they're room temperature, with a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 stick of unsalted butter that we've melted and allowed to cool to room temperature. This is also very important. Just use a spatula to bring all those together, and then go in with about 3/4 of a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, folding until they're just combined. Now this is, I believe, a 9 by 6, forgive me if I'm wrong. This is a weird dimension dish, and 8 by 8 is what you're supposed to use, so forgive me, I don't know where mine went. But 8 by 8, you wanna grease it, and then drape some parchment paper over 2 of the sides so that we can lift these out of the pan later and grease that parchment as well. Pour your brownie batter in the pan, smooth it out with your spatula, and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 23 to 28 minutes, or until the edges are set and the middle is just slightly soft. Once that's done, take that out of the oven and let those sit until they start to cool down, and we're gonna go on to the topping, which is like a pecan pie filling, but instead of it being baked, we're omitting the eggs and using cornstarch instead. So in my sauce pot, I have 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar that I'm adding to 1/2 a stick of unsalted butter that I've allowed to melt and come up to a little bit of a simmer. Don't let it brown though. Once you dump your sugar in, add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and keep cooking this until it starts to simmer and the sugar starts to dissolve. It'll smell a little bit like caramel. Once it gets to this point, we're gonna take a 1/4 cup of milk. Be careful, stand back, because this will bubble up. Add the milk in there, along with 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla and a tablespoon of whiskey, which is optional, but it really adds depth of flavor to this, and I would strongly recommend. Stir that until it comes together and continue to cook for just a couple minutes. And then we're going to go in with 1 3/4 cup of chopped toasted pecans, and we're gonna dust in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. This is gonna thicken it instead of egg yolks, since this is not a pie filling going in the oven. So once your cornstarch is all incorporated, keep stirring over a low heat for a couple minutes until it thickens nicely, and off the heat it goes. And onto our slightly cooled brownies, we're gonna go ahead and pour this filling and smooth it around with our spoon. Now, it's very important you let this sit in the fridge for about an hour, because it'll let it completely set up, and it'll make it a lot easier to cut. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a melty mess, which is always good, but we don't want it here. It's not pretty. So once those are all done, that's it, folks. Just cut them into squares and enjoy. And I have to say, these are some of the better brownies I've ever had. I've had 1/2 of one because I cut them pretty big. But oh my gosh, people, these are insane. I'm in love with them. Who needs a husband when you have these? God. Oh, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me. Once again, the link for this recipe is in the description with my other social media. Please give this video a thumbs up and leave me some comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Have a fantastic holiday season. Continue to bake up a storm with me, and I'll see you next time. Bake up a storm with me, and oh my God. Pancake. You I cannot believe she just jumped from the counter to the table, missed, and fell, and knocked over the light. You're a little piece of poop, you know that? No brownies for you.